from the emir, from the bishops, from whoever they can.
Some of our village markets, there are people, they call them in house like Nakama. They are like Agberu in the markets. Whatever anything is not useful to you is not important to you.
Politics.
What happened in Benue might be political. It still has an undertone, not political, dated way back. If you follow history,
it's interactive.
Not part of Nigeria.
Okay.
And it will not be good for us.
When they gather their people, they tell them, these Hausa people are your enemies. When the Hausas gather together, they tell them, these Igbo people are your enemies. When the Yoruba people gather together, they say the same thing.
Who are we? We are just from the background. And today, we are here in TSTV. And that is why we must propagate our own.
National Discourse, weekdays on NCTV.
Hello, good morning and welcome to National Discourse this beautiful day of Tuesday. And of course, to Nigerians, we are happy to have you, again, of course, to be here to serve you better. Now, in National Discourse, we are still committed to bringing us national issues, to uniting Nigeria as a nation. It is still our commitment. Now, today, we are looking at the state of the nation. How are we thriving as a nation? And where are we as a nation? Of course, we are particularly going to be looking at Nigerian economy and the forthcoming elections. Of course, a kind of a distraction from the current happenings in Nigeria. Now we'll go for a short break there, and when we come back, I introduce a guest I have for you. As to remain, Uche Uduma. Please stay with us. Welcome to National Discourse.
Current affairs.
We must not extricate anybody from corruption. If any one of them is found wanting, the due course and the law must take its course.
Nation building.
Administration is slightly different from the last one in the fight against corruption. We need to really task our leaders, who are the religious leaders, from the emir, from the bishops, from whoever they can.
Some of our village markets, there are people, they call them in house like Nakama. They are like Agberu in the markets. Whatever anything is not useful to you is not important to you.
Politics.
what happened in Benue might be political. It still has an undertone, not political, dated way back. If you follow history,
it's interactive.
Not part of Nigeria.
Okay.
And it will not be good for us.
When they gather their people, they tell them, these Hausa people are your enemies. When the Hausas gather together, they tell them, these Igbo people are your enemies. When the Yoruba people gather together, they say the same thing.
Who are we? We are just from the background. And today, we are here in TSTV. And that is why we must propagate our own.
National Discourse, weekdays on NCTV.
All right, you welcome back from that short break. In the studio with me this morning, I have Malam Ibrahim, the senatorial candidate for the senatorial aspirant, all right, for Kogi Central Senatorial District. I'm correct. You're welcome, sir. Good morning.
Thank you.
Good. Now you know that we have the right person to talk about next year's election in view of what we have today. Okay, so welcome, and once again, we are talking about the state of the nation. Now, from the economical point of view, where are we as a nation?
Uche, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I sincerely believe that we are on track when it comes to economy. We are not doing textbook economy. We are not doing padded economy. We are doing something that the average person, the common man, can feel the impact of the economy. Not only in his pocket, but in his stomach. And what matters to the average person is how he will get a wonderful livelihood that he cannot get if he cannot get something to put in his mouth to satisfy his stomach. What Nigerians recently referred to as stomach infrastructure. So I think we are doing fantastic when it comes to the economy.
Now, your view, if it's being taken out there, do you think that is going to be the random view of the people we are ruling as, of course, as citizens in Nigeria?
There's nowhere in the world where one view has been taken in totality as the view of everybody. That is not a realistic thing for anybody to assume. But all in all, you can say that the economy is doing well. As far as we can see, not as far as we know, as far as the eye can see, the hand can feel, the body knows, the economy is doing well.
All right, now can we move a little bit into the employment sector? I know it's not a sector, but talking about employment, that's one of the indices that this government promised to bring for us. Now, talking about employment or unemployment of Nigerians, from 2015 down the line, what can you say? Is there improvement in that line, in that regard, or what exactly would be your view in that?
I am very happy with the state of the employment in Nigeria. This, some people can contradict for reasons best known to themselves. Employment is something very close to my heart. If you go to the market now, you have more of Nigerian rice than foreign rice. That's just one crop. Do you know the number of people that are employed in the production of one bag of rice? You have farmers, you have people that work in fertilizer industries, you have people that work in threshing industries, you have people that market, you have transporters. It's a whole industry that has been created by this government. We might not be looking at statistics as the urban poor, you know, the urban poor who happens not to be in the threshold of where majority of the employment is being created. We should be realistic about employment. A lot of people have generated their own employment in the last 3 years of this administration than you ever had before.
Now, are you saying, moving over to agricultural sector, that things were not this way before this administration took over power?
I am sure you are a woman, you are a wife, you are a mother, you cook in your house. And you can tell, if you want to be sincere with me and your viewers, that in the last 3 years, at least once you have eaten local rice.
They have been local rice in the market?
The volume, yeah, they have been local rice. What sort of local rice do you always have in the market?
Now, what were we trying to achieve? Because I'm sure that the prices of this local rice is almost a match to what we have as a foreign rice. So what have we achieved? Because if you are saying don't import, right? Because one, foreign rice is expensive. Secondly, we want to have our own to build up our agricultural sector. And at the end of having our own, you discover that the product is almost the same thing when it has to do with price to the one you have as foreign rice. So what have we achieved?
There's what you call economy of scale. The price of a product is dependent on the volume that is available. Supply and demand. It's 3 years. We've been working very hard to increase the volume of rice that is produced in Nigeria. It will not be well for anybody to think that for the mere fact that we started producing rice in Nigeria, the price should crash overnight. No, it's something that is built on time. As we produce more for consumption and we are producing excess, the price will come down, then we can think of export. You can't deny the fact that our ability to raise the foreign reserve has to do with the fact that our balance of trade has improved. We do not have to use our foreign reserve again, our hard-earned petrodollar, to import rice into Nigeria.
Okay.
That is something that we have to be realistic about in Nigeria.
All right, still talking about farm produce.
Yes.
Right. For you, the rate of importation of rice have dropped.
Not for me, for Nigeria.
Okay.
Yes.
No, you said no particular view.
Yes, but this is not my view. This is realistic.
No, seriously, this is your view in the studio right now.
Okay.
I don't know what the next person will think about it. Now, if the price of rice or importation of rice have dropped, let us go back to other farm produce. Now, from 2015 till now, we have seen massive increase in the price of a mudu of gari in the market. How have that helped to reform the economy?
You have to understand something very simple, that we live in a unique country. We are unique people. We are very interesting people. Sometimes, most times, we are our own problem, and we hinge the faults on government.
Okay, can you just throw more light on that?
Yes, I cannot really see the relationship between somebody who wakes up in the morning and feels that prices should go up, and he does that and then blames it on government. You can say people just look at dollar and say, oh, dollar has gone up, my product has to go up. That has been a normal thing in Nigeria. But you can be realistic with the fact that some of these things are self-inflicted. That's the system we find ourselves. That is the problem we have that needs solution, that I can tell you in the last 3 years, the APC government is trying its best to look at such problems. But like any other thing, there's no magic wand to say price change and price change overnight. Things take time. Things need to be critically looked at.
Now,
which
from
the government
2015
is doing.
to now,
yes,
we have 3 years, a little above 3 years now, and we have seen constant increment. I don't want to say inflation. Constant increment of farm produce are those ones that are produced locally here in Nigeria. Now, I won't say because dollar increment and all that, but my question is, if I'm a trader, right, and some goods, there's some goods I buy that are really based on importation, right? We import matches, we import toothpick, we import things as little as cotton board, and I deal on those products, and I buy them very costly or very expensive because of the cost of dollar. Don't you think it will affect other things that are produced locally here? I'm not even going to transportation yet. Now, if there are things that have increased out of normalcy, the way I used to purchase them as a trader, don't you think it will have an effect, a triple effect, a ripple effect on the ones we produce locally? And if that happens, I don't want to say if the change has, if we have accomplished the change, I'm saying, what difference has it made from 2015 till where we are now?
I am happy that this government has outrightly banned the importation of certain things. And it is the importation of things that we really do not need to import that has caused the majority of our problem in Nigeria. We will need to look inwards. We will need to be realistic. We will need to understand that we have a country, we have a nation. We individually have to play our part. We can't just as individuals just assume that every other thing should be transferred to the next person. Whether cost, whether irresponsibility, whatever we think. For once, we should at least have a little fear of God. We all go to churches, we all go to mosque. Some of us are people who believe in traditional religion. But I can assure you that this character of the Nigerian person sometimes negates the values of God when it comes to money. If not, some things we do not actually need. The kind of prices we put on some goods. For example, a lot of us travel abroad. And when you see the price of a product in America or in China, and you see the same thing in Nigeria, and you compare how much they are being sold, this place is a platinum mine. It's not only a gold mine. It is not only a gold mine, because people just fix prices the way they feel they should fix it. And the government
and you
right
feel
now,
government does not really have a direct role in that?
We operate a wonderful free economy, but the government right now has policies in place that has to do with checking of the prices of certain products. It's not an easy thing. It's not as simple as I come here and tell you prices will change overnight. It's a continuous process. And we can also not deny the fact that things went up at the beginning, but as the market takes shapes, the prices are coming down. Regarding agro products that you are talking about, we still have largely what you can refer to as subsistence farming. So we need to invest, as we are doing right now, in agriculture until we can produce 12 months of the year. The prices will keep meandering and getting stable at some point, getting up at some point, until we are able to produce what you call profit to excess, excess to waste. Then we can really be looking at the kind of prices that Nigerians are looking for when
now,
it comes to local products.
Are you saying 3 years is not enough to achieve
no,
that?
No. We have to be realistic.
Okay.
3 years is not enough.
Now, peradventure, I'm not trying to think about what will happen next year, but peradventure APC does not come back to power. I know you say God forbid in your mind, right? I understand that. Now, peradventure it happens that way. Now, are we saying that there's not going to be continuity of this?
I am happy you brought this question of the issue of APC coming back to power. Every political party has a base. Fortunately for us, we have had the same base from 2003. Our base has not changed, rather it has only increased. And our base has seen the reason why we must continue, why we should continue. Me and you sit here, we live in Abuja. The majority of the population of Nigeria resides in the rural areas. City people don't vote. They are on Facebook, they are on Twitter. Many of our colleagues, so-called colleagues who have gone to the university, believe me, they don't vote. They, for reasons some of us cannot explain, they will make noise, they will shout, they will watch TV. Those who vote, the majority of the vote you will have always come from the rural areas.
Good. Now,
and since the vote come from the rural areas and we are doing what the rural man is happy with, it will be erroneous for anyone who belongs to the party I belong to, or anyone who wants to be realistic to himself, who understands how political parties are organized and where the base of the political party is, to assume that we will not come back next year.
all right, now away from assuming whether you are coming back or not, but my question is continuity of Nigerian governance, right? Now, peradventure it happens that APC does not come back, your party. Are we saying, or are you rightly saying that there's not going to be continuity of what APC started from 2015?
I want you to understand something that is peculiar to Nigeria. Nigerians are very good people. Nigerians know good when they see one. Nigerians pay good with good. Nigeria will pay APC back for the wonderful job it has been doing, it is doing, and it will continue to do after 2019. I'm a very optimistic person because I'm a Nigerian.
All right, we are gradually moving over to politics, and then we'll go for a short break. When we come back, we're going to look at still the APC government and, of course, having next year's election in view. Please stay with us.
Welcome to National Discourse.
Current affairs.
We must not extricate anybody from corruption. If any one of them is found wanting, the due course and the law must take its course.
Nation building.
Administration is slightly different from the last one in the fight against corruption. We need to really task our leaders, who are the religious leaders, from the emir, from the bishops, from whoever they can.
Some of our village markets, there are people, they call them in house like nakama. They are like agberu in the markets. Whatever anything is not useful to you is not important to you.
Politics.
What happened in Benue might be political. It still has an undertone, not political, dated way back. If you follow history,
It's interactive.
Not part of Nigeria.
Okay.
And it will not be good for us.
When they gather their people, they tell them, these Hausa people are your enemies. When Hausas gather together, they tell them, these Igbo people are your enemies. When the Yoruba people gather together, they say the same thing.
Who are we? We are just from the background, and today we are here in TSTV, and that is why we must propagate our own.
National Discourse. Weekdays on NCTV.
All right, we'll come back from that short break, and of course, I'm still in the studio with Malam Ibrahim, and of course, let's to remember, he's a senatorial aspirant for Kogi Central Senatorial District, forthcoming next year. Now, looking at APC and still talking about next year's election, sir, you have been seated telling us how good the APC-led government have done to Nigerians, and I wouldn't want to talk about anybody's view right now. I'm talking about your view right now. Now, you as a senatorial aspirant coming up for next year, what are we expecting? And then you're coming out from Kogi State. You know, see where I paused and I called the state. You know, now for over 27 months, workers are owed salaries there. And you're coming out there, that's Senator Dino Melaye's state. Now, Kogi State have a lot of beautiful things associated with it. If you're coming out from Kogi State for senatorial aspirant, what are we expecting, or what is the people of Kogi State expecting from you?
One of the best things they will expect from me, that my close friends and associates, my political associates, know me with this wonderful, capable representation.
As an APC member?
Yes.
Good.
As an APC party man.
Party man?
Yes.
All right, not a member.
Yes, I am a member. I'm a
There are two
party man.
things.
Yes.
Good.
Both.
You can be a member and you're non-partisan, right?
I'm partisan.
All right.
I'm a member. I'm a party man.
Okay.
And I believe in the tenets of the party. My constituency will not expect anything less than they already know about me. And it's interesting where even educated people in Nigeria will tell you, what is your manifesto when you are contesting for...
Do we still look at manifestos?
No,
now?
I'm getting somewhere. When you are contesting for maybe, when you want to go to the National Assembly, it's interesting. What the National Assembly is all about is representation from local to general, meaning it's supposed to be a harmonization of what every constituent look forward to. And that becomes law at the end of the day. My people have a unique problem. Your people have a unique problem. You cannot superimpose the problem of my people in Kogi Central over the problem of the people in Kogi West or Kogi East. So also you cannot superimpose the problem of the various senatorial districts in Kogi over the problem of the people from Enugu, even though we are neighbors, or over the problem of the people from Edo, even though we are neighbors. So it's something that is local. Every aspirant, every candidate, every elected member of the National Assembly, at the end of the day, has his own unique sets of problems that he's bringing to the center. What matters is what ability does the same person has in lobbying to get certain things done as it relates to the uniqueness of his people in his constituency.
All right.
And I think I strongly believe that's my life. You have to always learn to lobby. Maybe always learn to say please. Maybe the next please will get you what you want. I'm ready to say as many please as possible for my people to get what they want.
All right. Now, looking at Kogi State, we still come back to you trying to aspire for that position. Now, you came up from a state.
Yes.
Before you talk about district, there's a state, there's a state.
Yes.
Now, look at what is happening in Kogi State. What can you do differently? I know you're not coming as a governor, but at least they're coming to represent a particular set of people. But those set of people are coming from a state. I don't want to ask you if you're okay with what is happening in your state. I know no normal person have to be okay. But I'm saying what different impact would you make in your state, not only in your district?
I will tell you something. When every individual commits to doing his or her own part, it brings a wonderful whole. You cannot lay the blame of one system on a single person.
Sure.
You will have to technically look at the compartments that form the whole. I can assure you, if by the special grace of God I get elected, I will do what I'm supposed to do, because I know someday I will be held accountable, not just by man, but by my Creator. For me, that's the most important thing. It's been interesting that you have a lot of media hula baloo about Kogi. Sometimes you don't even know which of the media houses to believe, because many of them, as I will rightly tell you, do not really have their facts. I want media houses like yours to go down, get your facts, make your news, tell your story.
Now, are you saying the facts that are already out on social media they're not fact? I'm not talking
you,
about media houses now.
Yeah, I told you something the last time, that I am not really a social media person when it comes to news.
Okay.
Because it's one place that there's no editing. Everybody is an editor.
Okay.
Your enemy is the editor of your own news.
Okay.
And when you have your enemy as the auditor of your own news, you don't expect anything good to come out of it.
Now,
and if such enemy has a large followership, his lies technically becomes truth to the ignorant person. And the only minister of propaganda that ever existed in the world, Joseph Goebbels, said, a lie told 1,000 times becomes the truth. And if you are not from Kogi, you don't live in Kogi, you don't know anybody from Kogi, apart from the few you see who happens to always live in the city but also do not go to Kogi. And those are the people that are your first news givers. You are in trouble. And we live in a country where people just say what they want to say, negating the truth. It's really sad that we live in a world of social media where people say what they want to say and it becomes news.
Away from social media, sir, what is the state of Kogi State? We are looking at the state of the nation. We've looked at Nigeria.
Yes.
Now this is your state, and this is where you're coming out from.
Yes.
So what is the state of Kogi State?
I will start from general to specific. What is the state of the states in Nigeria? Many.
We are very
yes,
particular about
I am
Kogi
telling
State.
you, I will start from general to specific.
Okay.
If you go to South Africa, many of the states cannot stand on their own. They have support from the federal government. If you go to America, many of the states, for example, like New Jersey, is a very poor state, cannot stand on its own. The center always has to support the states. It is the way in which the support is given that differs. In America, they will say they are giving grant to the state. In Nigeria, we say we are giving federal allocation. At the end of the day, it all goes to mean the same thing. You are assisting the state. But you see, the difference between us and these countries I've mentioned is that the volume of resources that come to Nigeria is different from what those countries get. So it means what they will do, we might not be able to do because they have more volume than we do. And then we have 36 states. In these 36 states, there are criteria for disbursement of this federal allocation. I have a very small state with a very huge civil servant. I am from a civil servant state. And it means that most of the disbursement you will get from my state will go into recurrent expenditure.
Now, can we have a very quick contrast between Kogi State and Abia State? When you say you come from a civil servant state, right?
Yes.
Good. Now, look at Abia State. And when you talk about civil servants state, the first place you think about is Abia State because it's very small and it really do not have much things there. What it has is just people go to work and come back, and of course just little work like ministries and all that. No big how will I put it, big works there. Now if you look at Abia State and you look at Kogi State, as big as Kogi State is, if you term Kogi State civil servant place, can we have a little sharp contrast?
Okay, I'll give you a little but very interesting contrast.
Sorry, I think we have a call here. Hello? Hello, good morning to you. Sorry? All right.
are just media exaggerated or what
All right, thank you very much. In as much as we struggled to hear what you said, but of course, the question is for you. I don't know if you're able to pick out anything. She said,
yes.
At least let me just reiterate some. That are you saying that what the news that are on social media, they are not true? What's the true position of Kogi State? If you are talking about grants, are you saying Kogi State governor does not get the grant from federal government? That's the question. I think that the much I know I can pick up from there.
I will make some clear statements. First and foremost, I am not a spokesperson for Kogi State.
Okay.
But I am going to talk about facts.
All right.
We all do know that many of the states in Nigeria had collected so much loans before 2015.
Okay.
And unfortunately for most of us in Nigeria, we look at the center and forget the periphery. Where we look at the periphery, we look at it with malice. We are fortunate today. A lot of people can tell you they can tell what was the volume of money that was given to a particular state, not only Kogi State. But what they cannot tell you is what was the debt profile of the same state in the last years before the coming of this government.
So quickly, are you saying that the governor is trying to clear up the debt? That's why it's not paying his
there
workers'
are
salaries?
certain things. No. You cannot say the governor is not paying salaries. It's wrong to say that, please. I want to make you understand something very critical. People assume certain infrastructures are not taking place because there's so much money coming, we are not seeing it. But they forget one thing, that federal allocation is not carried and given to you in Ghana must go. There are channels this money goes to the state. And if you have a state that is indebted to so many banks, when your allocation comes, these are things that you cannot change. The people you owe will first take their money. So it is the remnant that comes to you. You can't change this. You did not sign this. These are things that they are law. When you go into contract agreement, you don't break it in the middle. You
Now,
can only renegotiate.
A very straight question.
Yes.
The people in Kogi State,
Yes.
the civil servants,
Yes.
for over 26, 27 months, have they been paid salaries?
I don't know whose
Very
version.
straight question.
I want to be clear with you, please. I don't know whose version of the story I will take, because I know
The workers have been paid the salaries.
workers get their salary.
In Kogi State.
It is not me that would. You see, there were issues from the beginning.
Okay.
Issues that had to do with enumeration of workers. And you still have some people who assume in their erroneous thinking that they should still be collecting salary, even if they had problems and they had been relieved of their duty. This is because this was what was happening in the state. When you have an army of human beings who were illegally employed or who were not placed at the right position and they had lived that life for too long, it's difficult for them to accept reality. You asked me a question. You said, is 3 years not enough? I said 3 years is not enough. It's a whole process.
So why is Kogi State being an exceptional?
Because we are very close. We are very. Let me tell you something.
Because sorry, you were talking about debt profile,
yes,
and I can categorically tell you that there is no state that don't owe.
it is the volume of debt that differs.
So Kogi State's volume
Our
of debt
debt
is big. Is
you can
huge.
imagine if a state like Kogi has a debt that is next to unbelievable calculations, and then they have to pay. They have no choice. It does not have to do with whoever is the governor. It has to do with agreements that the PDP had signed over the years.
Right.
And that cannot be changed in the middle of the
I was
road.
actually waiting
Yes.
for that, because the next question I wanted to ask you is, if we had a PDP governor in Kogi State, would you still say the same thing as an APC?
Before the going
party
of
member?
Wada, ask anybody. He was paying 30%. Yes, in Kogi. At some point, he couldn't even pay salaries. This is just pure politics. Yes, you can please do your due diligence. What happened in the days of His Excellency Idris Wada? Not to know what happened before one was born is to continuously remain a child. Ask. We can't be children. That today has come does not mean tomorrow will not follow suit.
No, sure.
Fantastic. We should get the best of today while thinking of what happened yesterday in preparation for tomorrow. Okay. I can understand this is politics. PDP will shout until the very end.
No, sure. That was what APC did.
That's why
while PDP was in power.
That's why we are trying to make sure the best that we can give, we give.
All right.
And there's nowhere in the world where anybody's best has been good enough for the whole society.
Now, I would want to ask a question you don't like hearing, right?
Yes.
Are there indications or indices that will make Nigerians not to vote APC? I think I have a call for you. Hold on there. Hello, good morning to you. Good morning to you. Please, what's your name and where you are calling from?
I'm calling from Edo State, and my name is Pastor Ezekiel.
Oh, Pastor Ezekiel. Good morning to you.
Yeah, I've been listening to the program.
All right.
You know, I always talk about President Buhari because God really said into this country.
All right.
To help us. If you look at into the Bible, in any country, any place that is in recession, they take at least 7 years for the country to come out of recession.
All right.
We take 2 years, Nigeria out of recession. If we are talking about politics, we should remove politics from Nigeria. I pray for this man, Buhari, because he's a godsend to Nigeria. Let us see what we are talking about agriculture today. Nigeria depends on oil in law. Since 60 years. And today, Nigeria is going back to agriculture. First time in history now, Nigeria use agriculture to pay allocation. How many times have we ever seen this in this country? We are talking about the foreign rice and the local rice. Everything, 3 years cannot be enough for Buhari. Let's not say the fact. But when you say the truth will set you free. Let us say today, if Buhari will give Buhari 8 years, Nigeria will be better.
All right. I just have a question for you, sir, before you go there.
Okay.
All right. You talked about recession. We are trying to get out of recession. My question now is, when exactly did Nigeria go into full recession? What year did we go into full recession?
Let's really say there's God, because the president cannot do his job.
My question is, when exactly did the country go into recession?
Okay, which year did Nigeria will come out of recession, or
Which year did Nigeria go into recession? Which year exactly did we get into recession?
that was, let me say, 2015 is when the thing happened.
2000 and what? 16.
2015.
All right. 15. All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Let me just say something, sir, man.
You go ahead.
We are talking now.
Yes, sir.
The are saying the local people today, if you come to a State, a part of a State, you will see things to buy a gari cheap. But when you come to Okpoma, you will see everything is costly.
All right, so you still think, what we are going through now is self-inflicted?
Yes.
All right.
Because it's not Buhari that we come to my state or to the local market and then bring your garita, because if you talk about onion today, Buhari is an onion that everybody goes to the farm and everything is going, and we use this dollar to buy the onions and that. He said, I don't know how to put it, because Nigeria, we need to assist this man. Because all this that is going, there's no politics, Buhari is not doing anything, he's not doing that. He's doing his own thing. I always said this thing in this station, that Nigeria, let them move pastor there. Let them move Imam there. They cannot do it without the help of this country in Nigeria.
All right.
Because we are talking about Kogi now. Kogi State. And the man that is sitting with what now, I don't know the part of the area, the part of the God. If the God, we are talking the young people, the young people. So the youngest we have is cooking. People are suffering. How can we do this for the governor? Are they not giving the governor allocation? What are you using the allocation for? When the people working is dying, people are committing murder. The governor is putting the president to shame. Because he's not helping the president at all. Because the president don't want the workers to suffer. That's why he gives us the land to all the governors. They did not take his expenses. They keep everybody equal because of the workers. But today, what are we saying? So let us say that you work for a month and you could not pay that person. And the person is transport to the office every day. Does it go to how is it go to seat?
All right, sir.
We need to really question.
All right. All right, sir. Thank you very much. We'll just have to cut it there. Thank you very much for calling, Pastor Ezekiel.
Two things he has said. The same thing I told you here. I told you our base is unshaking.
The second thing he said.
The second thing he said he's
Kogi
from Edo.
State.
I told you. He
Yes.
said he's from Edo.
Yes.
He doesn't live there. His information.
You're more comfortable with the first thing he said?
No.
And not comfortable with the second one
because
he said?
his information, I do not know how he gets them.
Now, if he stays in Edo State and he's able to applaud the president that is in Abuja,
Yes.
are you saying he does not really have the local standard to applaud
No.
the
You have to
Kogi
understand.
State governor that is very close to him?
He is using what Mr. President has done for the whole country to applaud him, because that directly affects him in his state.
Good. Now,
What happens in Kogi does not affect him. It is what he reads. It is what.
are you
quote
still
unquote,
insisting that
he hears.
the state in Kogi State is okay?
There's no state in Nigeria that is okay.
We're talking about Kogi
Lagos.
State.
No, there's no state. The issue of okay.
I know.
No human being can say I am okay.
We are talking about the civil servants that are working there.
There are challenges but not problems. You have to understand that. There are challenges that are surmountable.
So,
and His Excellency.
are you saying this because you live in Abuja?
No. I will not say this because I live in Abuja.
Okay.
I'm contesting election and I'm mostly at home all the time.
So all we get to hear and see on the newspapers and media houses and social media, they are all falsehood?
The Nigerian media is very interesting. And Nigerians make up the Nigerian media. We are all very interesting.
Let's get back to next year's election. Now, you're looking at Kogi State. Now, let me tell you something. You know, a part can destroy a whole. I hope you know that.
Yes, I do.
It's difficult for a whole to affect a part. Very difficult. Now, if Mr. President is being applauded by Nigerians, of course, he'll be voted. And when you want to talk about party leadership, the party in power, you're coming from the top. So if President Buhari is applauded, like I said, by Nigerians, and he's voted, it means APC is in power.
Yes.
Good. Now, let's go down to the state. It might not really have direct effect on the state. But if Nigerians want to measure the performances of President Buhari or APC-led government since 2015 to now, I wouldn't want to ask you what do you think. I'm saying, if they're using that indices for next election, what do you think will come out of it? But before then, the young man that called, he talked about recession. And that was why I asked him, when exactly did Nigeria go into recession? Say 2015. So who brought the recession?
PDP.
How did it get in there?
PDP.
How?
I will tell you something. You are talking about next year's election. It's as clean as the white
you're
wearing. You know why? Nigerians are grateful people. You had a caller from Edo. Believe me, this is how you will know how sincere the government is.
This is just
this is just one. I can assure you, if you will have a caller from Abia, you will get the same. But the caller has to be realistic, like this man, who has seen the trickle-down effect of the wonderful policies that the APC government in the last 3 years has pushed forward. So this is the first time you have a government that has a working budget that is realistic. This is the first time we can see infrastructures as they come in the budget, we see them physically. This is the first time that the local man is ready with his PVC.
Now, when you talk about infrastructures, I don't know, but infrastructure since 2015 to now.
I don't know when last we traveled across by road in Nigeria.
I don't think we should go there, because the last time Mr. President was addressing us, not the last time, that he was talking about $16 billion of oil money that was misused during Obasanjo's regime. He said, ever since he left as PTF chairman, Nigerians have not had good road.
Until 2015.
No, he said, and I will quote him, that ever since he left as PTF chairman, Nigerians don't have good road. Part of the things he still wants to come back and do is to make sure that we have good roads. My question is exactly what has happened in the last 3 years?
I travel all the days of my life. I've been traveling since I cannot remember. And then when you want to construct a road, like from here, let's take it for example, you want to construct a road from Abuja to Lokoja. You have very few months in the year that the construction can actually happen. Most of the other time it has to do with logistics. It's not till the work stops, but the major time you have is during the dry season. You know what that means? That in the 12 months of the year, you have 6 months only that you can work doing construction. The other days you can make preparation. If in this little 6 months in 1 year, the volume of work that has been done has been achieved, and you put these 6 months of the 3 years together and see what has been done, you can be sure that if you put all this together for 8 years, like the man said, we need to revere Mr. President. We need to be happy and thank God that he gave us what we need and deserve at this time of our nationhood. It could not have been better than this. And for next year's election, let PDP bring out their candidate if they have any. The integrity of Mr. President is not challengeable. Yeah. The nature and structure of the work he's doing is not challengeable. We are waiting. It's not usual since 1999 to say by this time of the year, the opposition party does not have a notable, reliable, probably respectable candidate that they will present to their electorates in their party to make a choice.
Do you think they don't have, or they're trying
to... They should bring him out. This is politics. When are they going to bring him out?
Okay.
They should bring him out.
What if is one of their antics to keep the president down?
You don't hide. Nothing good is ever hidden. Nothing good gets hidden.
So you think they don't have a good
They should
candidate?
provide one. It's as simple as
we have
ABC.
We have few months.
That's what I'm telling you.
Till
our primaries come up August, September. Primaries have to be finished by September. Right? Primaries are set by INEC. Has to be finished by August, September. They should bring their candidate out.
Are you really thinking about the coalition that we really have not picked our hands on what the outcome would be in that
Madam
coalition?
Uche, let all the other parties become one and face us. Our base is unshakable. They have no base.
That's a strong word.
No, let all the other parties become one. The issue is not political party in city centers. It is the structure of the people who believe in you that matters. Our base is unshakable. The population resides in the rural areas.
I think we'll take this last call. Hello, good morning to you. Please, can you please turn down the volume of your TV set?
Okay, stop now.
All right, your name and where you're calling from, please.
My name is Ramba from Abuja.
You're from Abuja. Okay, go ahead.
I don't want to waste too much of your time.
All right.
There is one that I appreciate what we said, that the integrity of the president, not the integrity of the party. I don't know whether the president is contested as defense. That is one. Secondly, if you travel all the days of the life, which means that even as I am traveling, I have traveled to what the ratio could just the the one going on in the area is situation. I don't know where to get that from. And lastly, the most interesting one. Let the other political parties compete with their party. Yes, I want to ask you, if they bring a candidate and the next week is not obviously an brother or man and the other state, I think it's an image that they propose. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I'm happy he said I should travel towards Abuja, from Abuja, Lokoja, you go. He did not say there are no jobs going on. If you check now, there is this Sukuk fund that the government has also injected in the construction of that same road. It's written, it's boldly written there.
That is the point that he raised there, and I will still want to bring that up point.
Yes.
Right? He said, he's happy you're talking about the integrity of Mr. President and not the party. My question to you is, what's the difference between the person and the party? Can people vote the person without voting the party? The party is a platform. Is it possible that people vote Mr. President without voting APC? Is it possible?
Right now, it will be erroneous for you to start dividing between the party and the president.
What he said has
no,
a lot of volume.
I'm getting somewhere.
Okay. And we have just
the party understands the need to bring in people with integrity.
All right.
And that is one of the major reasons.
So the integrity of Mr. President will be considered to vote APC next year?
Because it is the integrity of Mr. President we look at. 1, 2, his integrity has impacted on others who have worked with him. You cannot deny the fact that policies are mere black ink on white paper. If you do not have somebody with the kind of integrity that Mr. President has, the policy translates to nothing. It can be any political party. But I can assure you, it could not have been better than APC.
All right, I want to quickly take you back. I have just a few seconds to do that. Now, during the failed attempt to recall Senator Dino Melaye,
yes,
the people of Kogi State came out, right?
Yes, yes.
And they came out, Dino Melaye is APC and the Governor Yahaya Bello is APC. And they came out and said, we are not interested in APC, but for what this man have done, we have to say, you don't recall this man. I'm getting somewhere. It's just unfortunate our time is up. Now, coming back to the question this young man asked, don't you think that because of a party, someone will not be voted in?
This is the beauty of democracy.
That's the last question I have.
This is the beauty of democracy. And this is where we need to respect His Excellency, Alhaji Yahaya Bello, because he left the process to take shape. And this is the beauty of democracy.
You wouldn't have interrupted the process.
No. That's what I have to understand. This is democracy.
So if you're saying that he left the process, it means it's supposed to be a personal.
Yes, it's been democratic. And we have to appreciate the fact that what happened.
Very, very unfortunate. We just have to end here and probably continue, I don't know, next time or tomorrow. But so far, so good. It's been Malam Ibrahim in the studio. Of course, he's coming up for Kogi State, Kogi Central Senatorial District, coming up next. And of course, he's an APC party member. I use the word party member.
Partisan.
Partisan
Yes.
member. All right, you'll be seeing more of him on this studio, or in the studio rather. And of course, for Nigerians that have listened, we have talked about the state of the nation, of course, focusing our attention on the economy, how the economy either have developed or have dropped. Where are we? Recession, who started it? Where are we stopping in it? And of course, having next year's election in view. But we'll still keep our fingers crossed, having hope that next year's election will go out well, but we have not exhausted this. We'll still have him in the studio to continue from where he starts. From me, Uche Uduma, is a sign out.